Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our next show. Eric Pinkel, Sales Executive, Business Development Lead, Center Grid. It's the Center Grid Virtual Studio, cgvirtualstudio.com. Mr. Eric, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
Now, in our last show, we talked about the scalability of this offering and how your studio's got its own data center and environmentally sound. I mean, it's really a cool offering. We want to get into a little more specifics this time. But first, before we get started with the interview, I want you guys to make sure you check out Eric at SIGGRAPH 2023, the 50th Annual International Conference and Exhibition on Computer Graphics and Interactive Techniques. It's August 8th to the 10th, 2023, Los Angeles Convention Center. That's booth 1139. All right, Mr. Eric, let's get into this. First of all, tell us a little bit of quick background on somebody who might not have seen the first video, what CG Virtual Studio does.
So Virtual Studio is a online set of hardware that's available. It comes with security and IT, but basically it's a studio-wide hardware package. It comes with workstations, network, render nodes, storage, everything you need online in the cloud for your team to basically get a CGI production completed. So that's the main group. And again, the key here is support, meaning that our entire team is here to support you to make your project happen.
Now, when you say support, I think I read you're literally there 24/7. You have to accommodate everybody in the world. Yeah, that's a really different thing. And especially some of the big places I use now for buying things who will go unnamed, they're not so readily available. That makes things kind of frustrating. But in your business, time is money. You got to get it going. Now, in the last show, we kind of went into a lot of details about the building, the infrastructure, your data centers. I want to distinguish your virtual studio from everybody else's. Virtual studios are not new, but they're more new when you talk about the technology world. It's kind of a newer offering.
That's right.
And especially post-COVID, I mean, it's something we almost had to force to go to, right? Work from home and work virtually. So let's find out how your offering really distinguishes itself from other offerings that are similar to that.
Okay, so all of us, again, we talked a little bit about this last time, but we're all familiar with working remote software that allows you to log into your workstation that's under the desk in the office, and that is basically a great start, and we started there. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to make a space where you can get your entire production done if you don't have a box under a desk somewhere, right? So our solution provides all the workstations, all the network, all the storage, all the render farm, and all the CGI support from an IT infrastructure and maintenance. So we're a complete package that allows you to get your production done. There are a couple other pieces of software or different ways of working that are out there, and I kind of want to distinguish those. Like there's collaboration and file syncing technologies similar to Google Cloud data storage, etc. And our product is basically really unique. So first of all, we're faster than traditional collaboration environments when it comes to storage, etc. So there's no uploading or downloading need between a local workstation that someone might have at their house and the office where you might have your data center. In our scenario, all the workstations and all the storage and everything are all in the cloud at once. And it's really designed and built for collaboration, right? Specifically CGI collaboration. So we have ultra fast network access to the workstation and the render nodes from wherever you are in the world. We have access to a massive amount of high performance CGI storage. The other thing is that we have that protection that I was talking about. So we always have our team there. They're putting on the latest security and software patches. They're monitoring the back ends of the systems all the time, which is, again, a lot different than you might have if you go with a publicly based cloud scenario, right? We have redundant storage. So you never lose your file. So if something goes down or there's a problem, we always have this redundant storage backing your projects up 24/7, which is super important when you're working on something big and someone even accidentally deletes something. We're mirroring the data, and so we can always re-access it. We can take snapshots whenever you need. It's also, in a lot of cases, when you're working remote, you might have like, oh, I've got storage in Teams, or no, I have storage in Google Cloud. Well, virtual storage means you just have like a network storage. So there's your project folder. It's the name of your project. All the files are in it, just like you're working if you're at the office. So you don't have to use a bunch of other pieces of software and upload and download from it to actually, get your system working. So and that means you get the work done faster. You don't have, and you don't. And the other thing is you don't need a massive IT team and to help you manage all those softwares and those tools because we have that team already. And if you've got technical pipeline people and technical team members or IT staff, they can really then focus more on communicating with us to make sure things are checking in, make sure things are going well, and then they can turn their attention to really actually helping you in your creative workflow and making sure that your project's getting done and helping you on the software side of things versus the hardware side. So
So
those are
I'm
the kind of the bigger differences.
so I'm Christopher Nolan, and I call you up and say, look, I'm going to do Batman 4. Nobody thought I
That's
was
right.
when I'm going to do it, and I got to get this thing up and spinning right away. And maybe you're booked. Maybe you have every space booked and being utilized. How fast could you spin something up for a production that wanted to really, just get something done right away?
Well, most of the time we're not booked because we have lots of machines, lots of virtual machines available. But in the case that we are, it'll only usually take about a week, 2 weeks max. We've had studios come in, film studios come in, and they want, you know, something more than what we have. Usually within a couple of weeks, we can have all the hardware set up. Most of the time, it's immediate. But let's say you need 150 workstations, right? Or you need 1,000 render nodes, then that's going to take us a while to put that together. But usually we can get it together within, um, 1 or 2 weeks.
So let's talk about security a little bit. That's my background, so I know a little bit about it. It seems like you take this seriously because when I was reading your website, the first thing I read and noticed was we have our own data center. You don't hear that. Everybody puts it in Amazon Cloud, and that's my data center. And that's not the same thing. That's not even close to the same thing as having your own data center. In fact, data center technology is what we used to call higher storage, hierarchy storage management, where you had a big room over here with all your computers in it, and your station was a dumb workstation, and it wasn't on the internet, right? It was really secure that way. And then we built the cloud. So, talk to me a little bit about that and why people should feel real secure about the intellectual property, because these days, everybody's intellectual property is getting ripped off.
Well, first of all, data center means that we control the access to everybody who's in this our CGI cloud, right? Meaning that all the companies are working within our environment, which means you're not floating around out there. When you log into our system, you're logging into machines that are in our secure data center. That means that our network team can always see what's happening with every single user that's on the system, and if there something happens with malware or all kinds of issues with viruses, our team's on site and there within the data center, making sure that everything that is happening with your project is being overseen. The other thing too is that by having the virtual data center and being connected to hydroelectric plants means we're one of the first and one of the few black start tier 3 providers, which means that if the power goes down in the grid throughout the central United States, our systems stay up and running because we're connected to the local hydroelectric dam. So in the worst case scenarios, your data is not just going to be, lost if it's up in the cloud. It's actually going to be within our data center and it's going to be still running. We also have massive APS backups and all types of systems to make sure that your data is stable, even when the grid goes down. So some of those things are really the primary reasons that we decided to migrate to this. And the other thing is that the virtual studio backs up your data. And I can't just say how important it is because I don't know how many projects that I've worked on where someone just removes something or deletes something and it's gone. So we've got it backed up. Also, we control the access. So if you're the admin to the account, no one else is going to be able to download anything from any of those virtual workstations unless you give that permission. That means no one's going to walk off with any data in a third world country that might be sensitive or client restricted. And that's a really big deal. I mean, let's say, for example, you're working with an automotive supplier and you've got highly sensitive data for a new car launch. It's ultra important that if your team's spread out around the globe, that that doesn't actually leak out or go away. So by the admin having control over all of that is super important. And also knowing that no one can easily get into our firewall super system in order to do anything because we're monitoring it all of the time.
Now, I feel real good about that on the data center side and your side of it. But right next to me here on my desk here, I got a Windows 7 computer. I'm never going to get rid of that thing. It works perfectly. And so if I'm logging into your center on some archaic system, how do you help on my side protect the data center? Are you going to not allow certain machines in to the project because you know what? They're antiquated, they're not updated. Can you sense that they have security breaches on my side of it?
So when you log in, you actually log in through a portal. So it is a simple web portal. Once you're into that web portal, nothing that's on that machine that you have, regardless of what type of machine, affects the studio at all. Like literally, you could have a machine that is completely, compromised, and it doesn't affect the virtual studio because nothing on that computer actually gets to the virtual workstation that you're working on. You're just logging in through a portal that's on a website. And once you're there, then you access that workstation that's actually in the cloud, that virtual workstation. So it basically creates a firewall between whatever is on someone's local machine and whatever is in virtual studio. There's no barrier. There are times when teams might want a professional to upload something specific, and in that particular case the admins will have complete control of it. But other than that, there's no way for anything that's on that machine to get to the virtual studio, and there's no way for them to get anything from the virtual studio directly to their machine.
So tell me how center grid fits into. No, I made a mistake. One, two, three. Tell me how Virtual Studio fits into center grid's other offerings.
So CenterGrid has a wide array of other types of offering, and desktop as a service is definitely one of them. So, and we integrate a lot of those technologies into our work. So, let's say you're a producer and you don't need a high-end workstation. We can also provide, lower-end workstations that aren't GPU driven, and that comes out of our pool of other desktop as a service type of account. So we're basically enterprise wide. We're focused majority on the CGI environment, but we offer um, a wide array of services to help the CGI teams in order to get to where they want to be. And there are times when specific type of unique customers come to us that need something that is CGI type of driven, that takes a special kind of infrastructure or takes a certain type of setup for databases, etc. Our team's also there to provide services in those areas to really allow your company to basically tap as much value as you can out of Virtual Studio.
So in our first episode, we talked a little bit about the origins of center grid and how it kind of sprung from the automotive industry, and what a different standard they had for protection of the intellectual property. Right? It's different than the movie
That's correct.
business. It seemed to me to be a high standard, Eric, a higher standard than some other standards out there. Am I wrong about that? I just got the sense that, the automotive business does not want their 2027 Mercedes Benz released to the public before everybody knows about it.
That is correct. You nailed it. And they have the highest level of security. Again, there are very many levels. So each individual type of company and each different type of CGI production usually requires a specific set of requirements. So we have all of those requirements listed, put together, and we may not have a specific one that your particular industry uses. We have pretty much all of them, but there are unique. Um, cases, for example, the defense industry or things of that nature. So what we do is, if you have a specialization or something that you need that's ultra high security, we can basically build essentially a Faraday cage around your virtual systems in order so that it has the highest level of security. So we start at a high level of security, and then we essentially just proceed forward from there with all of the requirements that we've already achieved throughout the other projects that we've worked on.
Eric Pinkel, Sales Executive, Business Development Lead at Center Grid Virtual Studio. That's cgvirtualstudio.com. Eric, I got to say, you sold me. You sold me, dude.
Thank you.
I listen to your energy and your expertise, and it all comes through as you love what you do, you know what you're doing, and you just add that little extra touch of security to it, because with my background, that's what I focus on. And I would feel very, very safe putting Star Wars Episode 1 here instead of where we produced it, where it got stolen many, many years ago. That's another story for somebody else to talk about. All right, my friend, thanks for checking in. And remember, we're going to check out Eric's offering at the 50th International Conference and Exhibition on Computer Graphics and Interactive Techniques. And we're going to post his booth number up here in just a minute. Thanks for coming on the show, my friend, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.